Have you ever stopped to think how, I don't know, the flick of an eyeliner pencil or even just the feel of a certain fabric could be, well, kind of a radical act?
Yeah.
Today we're really digging into that. We're exploring these profound transformations, often quite hidden, that happen when straight men explore cross-dressing.
Yeah, and specifically how that bumps up against our whole idea of what masculinity even is.
Exactly. And this isn't just about, clothes or makeup.
Not at all. It's really about facing these super ingrained societal rules, these expectations, and trying to find a way to be more, well, authentic.
Our main guide for this is a really insightful article by Gender Benson called Masculinity and Makeup, Redefining Manhood as a Cross-Dressing Straight Man.
Right. It gives us a great framework.
And our mission, really, for you listening, is to help cut through all the noise, the assumptions, and get a clear picture of identity, how we express gender, and those big societal norms shaping everything.
We want you to have those moments where you think, okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
To feel genuinely well-informed.
So where do we start? The article dives right in, doesn't it, with this idea of the man box.
Yeah, the man box. It's a powerful metaphor. Think of it like this inevitable, really rigid cage built by, well, society, culture.
Uh-huh.
And for decades, it basically laid out the rules for men, especially straight men. You got to be strong, stoic, dominant, definitely straight.
Anything seen as feminine.
Completely off limits.
Yeah.
Forbidden, almost.
Yeah.
Strength, control, no tears, that kind of thing.
Wow. The article paints a picture of it being genuinely suffocating, right? Like men feeling they just couldn't breathe inside that box.
Exactly. It was incredibly restrictive. So if that's the pressure cooker,
Then how does cross-dressing fit in for straight men? How does the article frame that?
it frames it as this sort of quiet rebellion, a personal declaration that says, I'm more complex than your box allows.
A quiet rebellion, I like that.
But it also highlights the intense internal struggle, the shame that often comes with it. Men asking themselves these really hard questions,
Yeah.
like, am I still a man if I enjoy this? Or does liking this mean I'm actually gay? Deep, difficult questions.
And it's so important, as the article points out, to realize those questions often come from that societal programming, that man box, not necessarily from their actual identity or who they're attracted to.
Precisely. The source calls it a tragedy, actually.
A tragedy. In what sense?
The tragedy isn't that some straight men find real joy, real comfort in expressing femininity. The tragedy is that they feel they have to hide that joy, that it has to be secret.
That hits hard. So how does the article help untangle that connection people automatically make between expression and identity?
It's very direct about it. It draws a really clear line. For many, many straight men who cross-dress, it is purely about gender expression. It's exploring facets of themselves.
Not about being trans.
Not necessarily, no. Or being gay or being confused. It's about expression, like choosing art supplies to paint with, It doesn't change the artist.
Okay, so the article's saying makeup and masculinity are not opposites. They never were. But our cultural narratives say otherwise. That's a key quote, right?
Absolutely key. It challenges that fundamental, often unconscious belief.
So if wearing a dress doesn't mean you want to be a woman, and liking makeup doesn't make you less masculine,
Yeah.
what are these false equivalencies the article talks about? Why is there such a struggle?
Well, that's where the huge societal fear of being misunderstood really kicks in. It's pervasive.
How so?
The article points out how society tends to immediately sexualize it when men cross-dress or jump to conclusions.
Like assuming they must be gay or trans or that it's purely a fetish.
Exactly. Those are the false equivalencies it's trying to dismantle. People see a man in a skirt and their brain instantly tries to slot it into a pre-existing category, often one linked to sexuality or gender identity change.
Right. And the article acknowledges that for some, maybe there is an erotic element, sure.
Yes, it does. But it stresses that for a large number of these men, it's much more about comfort, self-expression, sometimes even a kind of emotional release.
Connecting to a part of themselves, maybe a softer, more vulnerable part that society tells them isn't manly.
Precisely. The article is really firm here. It says, essentially, wearing a dress doesn't mean you want to be a woman. Enjoying makeup doesn't mean you're not masculine. We have to break those connections.
Okay. So building on that, what about the feeling? The article talks about the emotional side, doesn't it? Makeup as a portal.
Yes, a portal or an unveiling. It's a beautiful way to put it. Like accessing a room inside yourself that's been locked for years.
A locked room of femininity they weren't allowed to even peek into before.
Kind of, yeah. And when they step inside, what do they find?
What do they find?
Often things like beauty, a sense of peace, new ways to express feelings, The article mentions men reporting feeling more relaxed, empathetic, or emotionally open when dressed.
Interesting. So it's not like their male self is fake.
Not at all. It's more that those feelings, empathy, openness, relaxation, have been culturally stamped as unmanly. So, putting on clothes or makeup associated with femininity can suddenly give them permission to feel those things.
Which must create some serious internal conflict, right?
Yeah.
Feeling this joy or peace, but having years of programming telling you it's wrong or weak?
Exactly. That dissonance, as the article calls it, the clash between the genuine positive feeling and the ingrained societal messages. It can be really confusing and difficult.
So if it unlocks these emotions, how does the article suggest this experience could actually, like, redefine masculinity? Not contradict it, but expand it.
That's the really exciting part, I think.
Okay.
It presents a huge opportunity. It asks, what if masculinity wasn't about rejecting the feminine, but could actually embrace parts of it? The article suggests that straight men who cross-dress are, in a way, pioneers. They're in a unique spot to help rewrite the definition of manhood.
A definition that could include, like the article says, makeup and muscle, eyeliner and honesty, skirts and strength. That's powerful imagery.
It really is. It challenges us to think bigger. The source makes this great point. Maybe the strongest men aren't the ones who suppress half of themselves, but those who can embrace their full humanity.
Vulnerability, sensitivity, creativity, things often pushed out of the man box.
Right. It's not about swapping one rigid definition for another. It's about questioning the need for such rigid definitions at all.
Yeah, dismantling the box itself.
And the article puts it so well. Being a man who cross-dresses isn't a contradiction, it's a challenge.
To the idea that masculinity is so fragile that a pair of heels could break it, I love that line. It reframes strength completely.
It's just true strength might actually be in that authenticity, that vulnerability.
That's a massive shift in thinking. But okay, even with that potential for inner strength, the article doesn't shy away from the real-world difficulties, does it? Especially telling people, partners, friends, coming out, so to speak.
No, it definitely addresses that. It calls it one of the hardest steps. The fear is huge.
Fear of what, specifically?
Rejection, mainly. Fear of being seen as less of a man, or suddenly like a totally different person, that their partner won't understand or will feel deceived.
And partners do struggle sometimes, the article notes.
They do. Their fears are valid, of course. But the article suggests those fears often stem from the same outdated assumptions we've been talking about, those false equivalencies between expression, identity, and orientation.
So how do you navigate that? What does the article recommend for those tough conversations?
Honesty, first and foremost,
Yeah.
and patience. Lots of patience. It emphasizes clarifying what this really means.
Meaning?
Meaning, when a man shares this part of himself, he's usually not saying, I want to be a woman, or I'm not attracted to you anymore, or everything you knew about me was a lie. More likely saying, there's more to me than you've seen. This is also part of who I am. It's an invitation to know him more fully.
That takes courage. And the article suggests that each time someone does say that openly, like, yeah, I'm straight and sometimes I wear makeup, it chips away at the stigma.
Definitely. It argues that every individual act of openness helps shift the broader narrative. Makes it a little easier for the next person, and it challenges those assumptions head on. It builds confidence, reduces shame.
And thinking about that journey, the personal one, the article sort of maps out a common path, right?
It does. It often starts way back, maybe childhood curiosity. Then often comes a period of intense guilt, secrecy, shame, hiding it for years.
Trying to stop. I think it mentions purging clothes.
Yes, attempts to purge or get rid of everything feminine.
Yeah.
But those often fail because, as the source puts it so beautifully, it's not just about clothes, it's about being whole. And the article really frames that journey itself, that move towards self-acceptance, as incredibly brave, a profound act.
It really sounds like it. It starts with giving yourself permission, maybe?
That seems to be the core of it. Self-permission is the first step.
So, wrapping this up, what does this all signal for, like, the future of masculinity?
Well, the article suggests it means masculinity isn't dying or broken. It's just evolving, expanding.
Making more space.
Yeah, making space, sharing these stories, normalizing the idea that men can be complex, that they can enjoy things society told them weren't for them.
So the next version of manly might actually include empathy, eyeliner, maybe even a really well-applied smoky eye.
Why not? The article seems to say that straight men embracing this are pioneers, pushing those boundaries.
Challenging what manly even means.
Right, and it boils down to this core idea: gender is a spectrum, expression is art. And masculinity, true masculinity, can hold space for softness. Masculinity isn't about denying parts of yourself. Real strength, maybe. Maybe it lies in being vulnerable enough to be authentic, to wear what you love who you are.